It is so funny how you could like see somebody plot on you in real time, right? So this happened a long time ago, probably around almost this time last year or something like that. Yeah, probably like this time last year, right? So I was on this website and I was on somebody else's live. Me and the guys live that I was on, we was like feeling each other or whatever the case may be, but he had his homeboy in the car who was actually a little bit older than him. I'm gonna say if he was, I don't know, 30, his homeboy was like maybe 36, 37, right? So I'm talking to them. We all having like a funny conversation and shit like that. And then I start to talk about like numerology. And then I start to talk about like I start to talk about my personal number 9. And then I put them all onto their number because all you have to do is add up your birthday, number my number to get to your numerical number. Mine's is number 9. I'm not even gonna discuss the other nigga's number. But anyway, so we were talking about that, and then they were like asking me like how I got into it, and then his homeboy was like more taking a liking to like the conversation. The guy that was supposedly feeling me at the time, he was just more so like listening. So um I was discussing like how I went through like my spiritual journey and how I managed to like get through a lot of my heavy deviancies to like, gain a clearer mind. And I started to talk about how like I used to view men, how men view us, like as women. Like I started to talk about how essentially like I thought like men were a means to an end. I would purposely get with men, sleep with them once, discard of them, whatever the case may be, just to have them in their feelings. I would purposely like just do particular kind of things, even sexual things, just because I knew that it would leverage I could leverage power over these people. Because men are very easy to manipulate. But anyway, so I could see like in real time, like they couldn't see me because I think I was like off camera or whatever the case may be, but I can see in real time like how like the wheels were turning in this nigga head. The nigga that was supposedly feeling me, like the wheels was turning in this nigga head about like, oh, he thought like he was gonna be next type shit. Like, oh, like I could use like this freakiness to my advantage, and because I know when niggas think like that, I liked him, but I didn't like him. I liked him as a person. I think like we used to flirt and shit like that, but I never liked him. It takes a while for me to get to a point where I could like somebody, or I'm gonna say this. I was interested. I'm not gonna say I liked him. I was interested, and it takes me a while to like someone to be like, oh yeah, I would actually like take you on like as an option, like as somebody that I want to be with. And I think that's what he wanted, but like I said, he was 30 years old. I was 32 at the time. I think he was ill experienced of like my thought process of how I decide to pick the guys that I want. But anyway, I'm veering off. So while I was saying that, his friend, you could tell just by like micro expressions, like how people react to the things that you're saying. I could see the dude that was interested in me, he was more so thinking like, oh, so that's what you like to do, da, 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 or like what you like to do, or that's how you was before. He knew that he was actually smart enough to understand like even though I don't do these things anymore, like I still have that in me. Just because I don't act out these particular things anymore doesn't mean that that side of me just goes anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because like I say all of the time, energy is not created nor destroyed. It's just, transferred. So I've just decided to transfer that negative energy into better things. But his homeboy, I seen a sense of compassion like on his face. Like he was really like, wow, like I never heard a woman like break it down like that. Like, so me and his homeboy was actually talking more, talking more, talking more. So like through me, like discussing like how I came into like my spirituality, how I managed to like keep myself on track as far as not slipping back into my old ways and stuff like that. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you through the conversation. I became way more interested in a homeboy because there was a point in the conversation where I had asked the dude that was feeling me. I had asked him like, yeah, so what do you do on your own time? Like when you don't have anybody and stuff like that, like what do you do on your own time for like self-development? And it's so funny. Like his homeboy was it's crazy how it turned out, because the conversation was like real lighthearted between us, and I kind of like made it serious. I have a habit of doing that sometimes. But no, it was a good conversation. Like regardless of whatever with the homeboy or the nigga who liked me, like it still was a very good conversation, and they enjoyed it. I could tell they really enjoyed it. But his friend was like the one who was like cracking jokes, like he was just talking shit and da 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 da. And it was funny because I was like, you should make a page, like nigga, you could get on live and like you could run your numbers up because you got like a very funny ass personality. And then like the homeboy, the boy that was liking me or whatever, he was saying like, yeah, I told my homeboy like after he left or whatever, because we talked after that. He was saying like, yeah, I told him like he needed to get on blah 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 to make a page. So I was just like, oh, dope, or whatever. Like, I might have to add him and shit like that because that nigga funny. But anyway, like I said, I had asked the dude that was feeling me. I had said, like, so what are you doing your own time as far as like self development is concerned? Like, is there any things that you do to like try to improve yourself? Blah blah blah. And he like, I go to work and I go home. He like, I might go like to the casino, but I go to work and I go home. Like I was like, I'm gonna say like, don't get me wrong. Like I'm not self-development 24/7. Like I obviously have time, times to where I'm just like not super crammed into like digging into psychology and different kind of things like that. Sometimes, you need your rest days just to like chill, just to be like a regular, normal person. And he was like essentially like, nah, like, so, and it was funny, like I said, because I was thinking I was having a conversation with a boy that liked me. I was thinking I was talking to somebody who was more on the serious side, but funny enough, his hee hee ha ha, jokey jokey homeboy and whatever, once the conversation turned serious, I seen that he was a lot more into the things that I was into. So, he just kept saying like, yo, that's dope, that's dope, that's dope, that's da 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 da. Like he was just like, he was just essentially telling like his friend, like, nigga, you got you one. Like, you got you one. So, but it was funny because, like I said, for him to have such like a jokey joke personality, and what I perceive for the dude who liked me to be like a little quote unquote more serious, he was more intrigued with the conversation, and he was like talking about fasting and eating better and da 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 and his lifestyle at work, and he was more along those sides. But like I said, in real time, I seen how the dude who I wasn't even talking to managed to have compassion for my past, and how this young nigga just looked at me like, oh, so that's how you were. Okay. Well, hopefully I get to bring that out of you. I seen this shit in real time. And in hindsight being 2020, like sometimes you don't really clock things like in the moment. But I'm a person who, if I'm having like a interaction with somebody, usually for whatever reason, it'll play back in my head. Maybe throughout the day, maybe there was something that was said or whatever. It'll play back to me, and then I'll begin to put the pieces together. Sometimes it might come off automatically and I might clock something. And I think, you know what? I'm lying. In that moment, I clocked it. In that moment, I clocked it and I ignored it. And that's something that I promised myself that I wouldn't do. I wouldn't go against my better judgment in 2024. Hence, I said this time last year. So it was actually 2023 when I had this conversation. But I told myself moving into 2024, like I was going to go with my gut instincts, and I was going to listen to my body when I felt like something was off. And funny enough, he was one of the things that I cut off before the new year started. So yeah, when people you have to pay attention to micro expressions, you have to pay attention to tone, you have to see what gets people excited, you have to really ask the really tough question, not even tough questions, just the questions of like what people do on their personal time, the kind of people that they admire, you know what I'm saying, the things that they hate. You have to pay attention to these things, because if you're not asking these questions early on, you'll find yourself in a situation where you could be talking to somebody or invest time long term into somebody who you're just supposed to flirt with, and realize like, oh, I took it too far. So like that's what I've been saying for the longest. Like, stop talking to niggas that just stroke your ego in a moment. They all gonna do that. They're gonna stroke your ego. They're gonna do particular kind of things. The nigga complimenting you should just be like, oh, okay. It's not to say that you can't, um, it's not that you can't be like, yo, I appreciate that, or I accept that, I receive that, but don't take it to head too much, because a nigga say anything, I mean any motherfucking thing, just to get your motherfucking vagina. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you all know that, and I'm mainly just speaking to the women who, like, it's cool to be very self-aware. It's cool to understand, like, of course this man thinks I'm beautiful. Of course he thinks I'm smart. Of course he thinks I'm funny. Of course, of course, of course, of course. I think these things about myself. Great. But 9 times out of 10, he's not telling you those things because it's not necessarily because he doesn't genuinely believe it. It just means that he's trying to get to his destination faster. So when somebody is laying it on thick in the beginning, like, this is why I don't like people complimenting me too much. Like, you know, I feel like there's a natural amount of times that a guy could like mention like how he is visually attracted to you, or just, certain things about you are attractive to him. But like, you could tell when somebody just putting the extra on it. It's just like, all right, nigga. All right. I know I'm great, but damn. When you start to feel like that, exit stage left. Because he's doing too much, and he's doing too much because he's trying to get to his destination faster, and he wants you to be disillusioned by his words instead of his actions. So you have to pace yourself when dealing with people. You have to ask more of the right questions. There is something that I want to there is something that I want to drop on you all, but I don't want to drop it on you all until I have it in the works. I have something in the works to alleviate a lot of these issues, and I cannot wait to share it, because I have been, since like the end of 2022, I have been plotting on this. And I really want to bring it into fruition, and I want to really help people. So the minute that things are in the works, I will tell you all about it, because I think it's going to be a game changer. But yeah, I just wanted to lay that little story time on y'all real quick. Please do not be disillusioned by words. Pay attention to those micro expressions when you're having conversations with people, their tone. Ask them the different questions that really matter when it comes to their day-to-day life and what they do on their free time, who they may follow. Listen to all of those things. They matter, because it is going to give you a good glimpse of who they truly are. And I promise you, a lot of who people are in their goddamn phones. It's in that goddamn phone. Now, I'm not telling you that you need to go rummaging through that, because that should be the least of your worries. I'm telling you that you should pay attention to a motherfucker's actions and not what they say. Listen twice as much than you talk, and believe half of what you hear. Excuse me. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. I know that sounds like contradicting an oxymoron, but y'all know what the fuck I mean. Y'all know what I mean. Pay attention. Just pay attention. Pay attention, pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to come on here and talk to you all about. Yeah, anyway. I'm like lost for words. Y'all get down in the comment section. I'll talk to y'all later.